Hello everybody and welcome to another Nintendo Switch Gems, the series in which we talk about a bunch of different gems for the system, from hidden gems to well-known gems, to expensive games to cheap games, from retail games to eShop titles. Something hopefully that will be there for everyone. Right, well, as always, let's get cracking straight on and let's talk about what I have. The first game on my list is Jetomero, Hero of the Universe. It's an interesting title that's essentially Doshin the Giant in space. As the titular Jetomero, you must travel between planets and even galaxies, saving the human civilizations you find there. Saving them consists of finding the monster in each galaxy and destroying them Power Rangers style in a laser battle to the death. You can also save people in smaller ways too. You can chase away storms, put out fires, etc. None of it's really compulsory, but it's just there. Bear in mind that the humans may not be very welcoming or even thankful. They'll often even attack you. You can die, but their attacks will probably cause you to trample more buildings and cause more damage than you may want to. Doing so doesn't actually change a damn thing in the game, but Jetomero certainly expresses sadness for any harm he causes. You can find visual aesthetic upgrades for your robot in each planet, most of which are pretty cool, make your robot look even better than he normally does. And speaking of the visuals too, the main draw to the game is how utterly gorgeous it is. It looks like a graphic novel. I mean, every world is basically the same, but the art style is something special. And that kind of summarises the main problem with the game too. I mentioned before that every world kind of looks basically the same, but once you've seen one galaxy, you've seen them all. The game offers very little variety and only functions as something to do as the plot unfolds. It's not a complicated plot, but it is a nice one. The game is also very relaxing, even if it's extremely easy, short and repetitive. It fails as a video game, but I'd say it's good as an experience. The game's also reasonably cheap on the eShop, but to be honest, I'd still recommend a hefty sale, like 50-75% on the eShop before you pick it up. I'd recommend picking up for peanuts for the experience, because bear in mind, you're not going to be in it for the game. The next game on the list almost made my pick of the bunch. If it wasn't for my number one being so damn good, this one probably would have got it. And that game is Immortal Redneck. People who have watched my Saturn Gems series are probably aware of my love for a game called Exhumed. It's a Doom clone set in Egypt that plays a bit like Metroid Prime. This is also a Doom clone of sorts set in Egypt, but the twist on this is that it's procedurally generated. I don't think I've ever made it known on my channel, but I don't really care much for roguelikes. They tend to rely on pot luck, and when you fail, it feels like the game screwed you over rather than any fault of your own. You may get certain upgrades or something else for next time, but generally it feels like it's down to the game as to whether or not you'll succeed. Immortal Redneck's not like that at all. The levels are randomised, so feel a little bit different every time, and when you die you can use the currency you collected to upgrade everything from health, to crit chances, to certain abilities, and these remain with you forever, so you are getting stronger each time. Rather than feeling like you're relying on luck, it feels like the game starts on the hardest possible difficulty and is gradually getting slightly easier every time you fail. Even the first time you play and inevitably die, it feels like you could have lasted longer if only you had the skills. The design of the enemies in this game, they all look pretty great. They have a variety of different types and attacks, and I never found myself getting bored of facing them. The weapons too are all pretty meaty and feel good to use. You start off with a pistol, shotgun, grenade, but you can get more weapons, from conventional weapons like a rocket launcher, flamethrower, to mystical ones like an ankh and energy ball firing gauntlets. As mentioned before, you gain certain abilities which are pretty fun to use, can help you along the way, and during the level you can also find scrolls. These will give you temporary abilities, so basically abilities till you die. They're also pretty fun. All in all, Immortal Redneck is a must-buy for any fan of old-school shooters. Don't let the procedural generation put you off. I normally hate it, like fucking despise it. But to be honest, it works really well in this game. The game's also cheap to buy too, so I wholeheartedly recommend it. Coming now to something a little different to anything I've played before, we have Vostok Pink. Vostok Pink is basically a capitalism simulator of sorts. You play a greedy businessman who's set to earn like all the money in the universe by building copious capitalist ventures across every planet in the various galaxies. The more money you earn, the more expensive structures you can buy, and these in turn will make you more money. Sort of like a management game, but without actually the need to manage anything. Really, you just need to collect money and buy more structures and upgrade until you start making quintillions of moolah, which is the game's currency. It's more like a clicker game in a way, but, with no clicking. That's not all the game is though. Outside the building, you can shoot asteroids to find more moolah. You can find executives, consultants and the like floating in space, which can also get you more money, and some of which will have their own mini-games you can play for a brief distraction. There are races too. There are enemies who want to attack you, but again, killing them can get you more money. The enemies you encounter can get pretty challenging, and the game likes forcing you into battles a little bit too often, but you can upgrade your ship in order to deal with them. The combat is probably the weakest part of the game, especially as the hit detection is pretty wonky, but it doesn't spoil the enjoyment of the game, and the game is enjoyable. It's a very cheap game, and it's on sale often, and it's very addictive. As the moolah starts skyrocketing, you'll be kind of addicted seeing just how high it goes. It's not a very deep experience, for sure. There's not really that much more I can say about it, but it's definitely one to try. Moving on now to something a little bit deeper, we have Ghost 1.0. Ghost is a Metroidvania title, and it pushes in the role of a cyborg containing a spirit. You've been contracted by a couple of geeks who are set on stealing the source code for a highly intelligent set of androids, which are called like knackers or something. As Ghost, you need to explore the station. A lot of it's closed off, so exploration generally involves finding keycards. On your way down, you'll need to take down quite a fair number of enemies, but honestly, combat's pretty fun, the controls are pretty tight too. You'll encounter various enemies through the game, and there's a reasonable amount of variety to them. There's also various different areas where an alarm may trigger and you have to take out these enemies. And one of the geeks will hack the alarm and eventually it'll stop. They are enjoyable, but there's probably too many alarm sequences. Most of them are optional, sure, but you find yourself wanting to get the money gained from them so you can buy some of the combat related upgrades, which makes them a little bit less optional than the game may initially portray them as. And you can get other upgrades as well using skill points, and these are generally found in the same areas as the keycards. Some of the upgrades can be pretty useful and fun. For example, a double jump and jetpack can be bought, but then there are other skills as well, like harming androids while you're in spirit form, or making hacking a bit quick. It's such a shame these skills aren't really used for exploration. With the exploration, it's pretty much just keycards, and collecting keycards again and again, it can get a little bit repetitive. Don't let that put you off though. The game is a really fun Metroidvania title, does its own thing, and I admire it for that. It has a bunch of fun bosses too, and there are also some nice puzzles that revolve around using your spirit to capture and use other androids. The story too is pretty engaging and at times funny, at times cringeworthy. It's a budget Metroidvania, and I think fans of the genre should experience it, just because it is a little bit different. I hope the devs make a sequel in the future, because it does have some great ideas, some truly unique concepts, and I hope that they take them further next time. The final game on my list, and my pick for this month, is Let's Go Pikachu. Before I go any further into this game, I want to talk about my reaction to the game initially and my thoughts on Pokemon Go. So I'll start with Pokemon Go. It's shite. It was a grandiose idea that turned out to be quite an empty and dull concept housing the shell of a broken game that's oftentimes not even functional. The latter part of that mainly reflects my experience with the game, to be honest. I've encountered people that rarely have issues with it, but honestly I have quite a fair few problems with it, so for me it's kind of broken, and as such I dislike it. Anyway, when Pokemon Let's Go was announced, I was a little bit pessimistic. Graphically it looked fine, but it was focused on the mechanics of Pokemon Go. Being a remake of quite a short Pokemon game too, it was short because everyone knows exactly where to go in Gen 1 these days, and then it strips out certain various elements, like for example the Safari Zone. It kind of made it seem like something that was heading for disaster. As the months passed, I started to grow a little bit fonder of the game. Some elements like the gym entry requirement seemed iffy, but I quite liked the look of it. I still wasn't sold on the Go catching mechanics, but I was getting a little bit excited, so I wanted to get on release. So that brings us to the game. I booted it up, and it was great. Not only did it introduce some things that are completely new to the series, like roaming Pokemon in the wild, but it also tweaks some existing mechanics to make them a bit less hassle, such as accessing all your Pokemon at any time, renaming your Pokemon when you like, there's the judge function, and so on and so forth. But it also did the unthinkable. It turned the Pokemon Go catching mechanic into something that's not only rewarding, but fun too. The chaining mechanic to get strong Pokemon is quite addictive, especially when combined with other bonuses for doing so. For example, if you get a max chain, which is like 31, 32-ish, then you'll get a much higher shiny encounter rate. It's something that not only did I enjoy, but I actually prefer it to battling in the wild. It adds a little bit more variety to the game. So trainer battles feel a little bit more exciting and a little bit more special, because you're not doing battling continually. And it helps shake up the game a bit, and I say just gives it a little bit more variety, which I think the series needs. They also introduce more trainers too, to make sure you're battling more often. There are new coach trainers which have much better AI and offer a genuine challenge. So much so that I kind of wish that the normal trainers had better AI to compensate for the lack of Pokemon battles. I think having Pokemon trainers with just generally more Pokemon and having the skills to use them properly would kind of make it so exciting that you wouldn't really need the wild battles. Everything has been streamlined pretty well too. Making a competitive Pokemon requires pretty minimal effort. Gone are the days of breeding, which I'm sure some people miss, but honestly I don't. I like the idea, but it's a pain in the ass. The new method of chaining, ball caps, candy, nature prediction, etc. makes everything so much less hassle. You don't need to worry about facing hacked Pokemon with perfect stats, because getting a perfect Pokemon isn't hard at all, and it doesn't even really take that much time. So if you're wanting to create like a competitive team, you can do so, and you don't have to spend literally forever, like you had to do in the past. Anyway, battling friends is as fun as always. The online functionality is more bare bones than ever, but you know, it does the job. And hopefully they sort out for Gen 8 and make it, you know, a little bit more, well, a little bit better. There are other niggles too, which I hope they sort out, but all in all, it's an extremely good game. And I pray to God that when they get around to making Let's Go Johto, it's sooner rather than later. As for value for money, well, I've played around 120 hours so far, so I'd say it's definitely worthwhile for hardcore Pokemon fans too. If you're a huge Pokemon fan, maybe wait for a sale. I reckon next year before the Gen 8 release there'll be a little bit of a sale, but I think it's something that everyone should definitely grab and play at some point. So, those were the 5 games that we covered this time. We had Jetamoro, Hero of the Universe, we had Immortal Redneck, Vostok Pink, Ghost 1.0, and Pokemon. A nice variety of games there, and some of which are very, very good, and I think would be great for everyone to try. Anyway, have you played any of these games? If so, drop a comment below, let me know what you think. If not, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.